African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of November 14, 2025. In response to terrorist attacks by Ukraine on civilian objects on the territory of Russia last night, the armed forces of the Russian Federation delivered a massive strike with high-precision long-range weapons of air, ground, and sea-based platforms, including hypersonic aeroballistic missiles Kinzhal, as well as strike unmanned aerial vehicles, on the military-industrial complex and energy facilities of Ukraine that ensure their operation. In addition, during the week, massive and 5-group strikes were carried out, resulting in damage to Ukrainian military industry enterprises and gas energy complex facilities that supported their operation, transport infrastructure used in the interests of the armed forces of Ukraine, military airfields, storage and preparation sites for launching strike unmanned aerial vehicles, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations, nationalists, and foreign mercenaries. During the week, the units of the North Group of troops improved their tactical position. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of heavy mechanized, Ranger, Airborne Assault Brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the Sumy region. In the Kharkiv direction, active actions by the group units liberated the settlement of Sinelnikov in the Kharkiv region. Damage was inflicted on formations of a motorized infantry brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade. In the area of responsibility of the North Group of troops, enemy losses amounted to more than 960 servicemen, 3 tanks, 6 combat armored vehicles, 70 cars, as well as 14 field artillery guns, 3 electronic warfare stations, 3 radar stations, 8 ammunition depots, and 37 supply depots were destroyed. Units of the West Group of troops inflicted damage on formations of tank, 3 mechanized, assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades. In the area of the settlement of Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region, assault groups of the 6th Army continued the destruction of the encircled group of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. During the day, 3 counterattacks by units of the 1st and 15th National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements of Nechveladivka and Petrovka in the Kharkiv region, conducted by the enemy to break through to the Oskol River to restore the destroyed crossing and unblock encircled servicemen of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, were thwarted. 15 militants and 7 combat armored vehicles were destroyed. During the past week, in the area of the settlement of Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region, the enemy lost more than 365 servicemen, 25 combat armored vehicles, including 2 M113, were destroyed. Units of the South Group of troops took more advantageous lines and positions. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 4 mechanized, 2 motorized infantry, airmobile, assault, mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, 2 territorial defense brigades, and a National Guard brigade. During the week, enemy losses in this direction amounted to more than 815 servicemen, 6 tanks, and 19 combat armored vehicles, 11 field artillery guns, 109 cars, 11 electronic warfare stations, 21 ammunition, fuel, and supply depots were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of troops improved their position along the front line. Defeated were formations of 6 mechanized, assault, infantry, for airborne assault, 3 Ranger, airborne, airmobile brigades, for assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, for Marine brigades, a territorial defense brigade, and 4 National Guard brigades. In the area of Krasnoarmysk settlement of the Donetsk People's Republic, assault groups of the 2nd Army continued the destruction of encircled formations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the western part of the city, the northwestern and eastern quarters of the Central District, as well as in the territory of the Western Industrial Zone. 7 attacks were repelled by units of the 32nd Mechanized Brigade, the 425th Assault Regiment Skala, and the 1st Assault Regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine from the area of the Grishino settlement of the Donetsk People's Republic aimed at breaking the encirclement of the Ukrainian group. During the past week, units of the East Group of troops continued advancing deep into the enemy's defense and completed the liberation of the Arestopol settlement in the Dnipropetrovsk region. In addition, during the week, the settlements of Danilovka, Volchi in the Dnipropetrovsk region, Novospanovskoye, Novo, Sladkoye, and Rybnoye in the Zaporizhzhia region were liberated. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 3 mechanized assault brigades, 3 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades. In total, in this direction, the Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 1665 servicemen, 11 armored combat vehicles, and 81 cars. 9 field artillery guns were destroyed. Units of the Dnieper Group of troops inflicted damage on formations of 2 mechanized mountain assault brigades, 2 coastal defense brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade. Losses of the Armed Forces of Ukraine amounted to up to 495 servicemen, 3 armored combat vehicles, 82 cars, and 2 field artillery guns. 40 electronic warfare and reconnaissance stations, 24 ammunition and material depots were destroyed. During the week, air defense means shot down 9 guided aerial bombs, 17 MR's multiple launch rocket system rockets of U.S. production, 2 long-range guided Neptune missiles, as well as 1173 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. By the forces and means of the Black Sea Fleet, as well as missile troops units, 27 unmanned boats and 3 tugs of the Armed Forces of Ukraine were destroyed. Since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 668 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 96,549 unmanned aerial vehicles, 636 surface-to-air missile systems, 26,020 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,611 multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, 31,286 field artillery guns and mortars, 46,649 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.